Hello, sir. Satish.
மேம் சொல்லுங்க மேடம்.
கேக்குது சார்.
மேடம் கேக்குது மேடம்.
ஹலோ.
ஹலோ.
ஓகே ஓகே. சரிங்க சார். ஹலோ
ஹலோ
கேக்குதா?
மேடம் கேக்குதுங்களா?
ஹலோ கேக்கு.
எனக்கு மேடம்
கேக்குது
உங்களுக்கு
சார்.
கேக்குங்களா?
கேக்குதுங்க சார்.
ரைட் ரைட். இந்த யூடியூப் லிங்க் தான் ரெடி ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு மேடம். ரெடி ஆயிடுச்சு மேடம். நான் அனுப்பிச்சுட்றேன் குரூப்ல.
ஓகே ஓகே வந்துருச்சு. லைவ் ஆன் யூடியூப்னு வந்துருச்சு.
இந்த லிங்க் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன் மேடம். அது அப்படியே மத்தலையும்
ஓகே.
குரூப்ல அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன்
ஓகே
மேடம்.
ஓகே. ஓகே.
ஓகே ஓகே மேடம். ஓகே.
சதீஷ் பாபு சார். மேம் ராதா மேம்.
I'm online ma'am. Video வேணுமா?
Yes ma'am. Okay ma'am. Okay ma'am. Starting அப்புறம் we can switch off ma'am.
Okay okay.
Okay ma'am. Okay ma'am. How are you ma'am?
I'm fine. How are you ma'am?
Fine. Okay. Had your lunch no ma'am?
Yes ma'am.
Ma'am. Okay. Shanti ma'am. Ma'am. Satish Babu sir.
One second, I am trying to unmute.
Hello,
ma'am, good afternoon.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine. How are you ma'am?
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Can we start now or should we wait for the participants?
We'll start. For me, I am ready. It's up to you to decide.
One second, ma'am. I take it to dismiss.
I don't think so he'll join. Anyway, you can. He said you just start. One second, madam. One second.
ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு மேடம்.
சதீஷ் பாபு சார் ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டாருங்களா?
சார் ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டாரு மேடம். வின்சென்ட் சார் ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டாரு.
சார் ஓகே ஓகே. சார் குட் ஆஃப்டர்நூன் சார்.
Good afternoon, madam. Are you able to hear me?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Shall we start, sir? Somebody has to unmute. Somebody has to mute. Hello? Hello? Satish Babu sir, ma'am. Hello?
மேம் மேம் சொல்லுங்க மேடம்.
இல்ல யாரோ ஆன் பண்ணிருக்காங்க, அதை மியூட் பண்ண சொல்லுங்க. Okay. Shall we start, sir? Okay.
எஸ் மேடம்.
Sir. Okay.
வின்சென்ட் சார் மீட் பண்ண சார்.
Okay. Okay. என்னப்பா?
கெஸ்ட் வந்துட்டாங்களா மேடம்?
வந்துட்டாங்க சார். ராதா மேம் வந்துட்டாங்க. Hello. Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, shall we start? Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone present here. Now I invite Dr. D. Shanti, Head of the Department of Computer Science Engineering, Psna College of Engineering and Technology, to give the welcome address. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, you have to unmute. Shanti ma'am has to unmute.
Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon to all present here. I am Dr. D. Shanti, Head of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Psna College of Engineering. And on behalf of our Psna CET and our faculty team, I'm very much delighted to welcome you all for the webinar on writing a research report on innovations. As under the banner of Psna CET Innovation Center, Institute Innovation Center, I would like to express my gratitude to our chairperson, Srimati K. Dhanalakshmi Ammal, in absentia, most respected pro-chairman Rotarian R.S.K. Raghuram sir, in absentia, respected principal Dr. D. Vasudevan, for their support given to conduct this event in successful manner. And I also extend my heartful thanks to Psna CET Innovation Cell Coordinator, Professor and Head of IT Department, and I welcome you, sir, for this event. And we are very much pleased to welcome our Chief Guest, Dr. S. Radha, Professor and Head of Department of ECE, SSN College of Engineering in Chennai, for her time and for her expertise to our students as well as our faculty members. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. It's our pleasure to welcome all our faculty members as well as the students of Psna CET. Also, I want to express my appreciation to Dr. S. Puspalata and Dr. Satish Babu and Dr. Suresh, who have made the arrangements for this program. Once again, welcome you all for this event, and I wish you all the success. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. S. Radha, Professor and Head, Department of ECE, SSN College of Engineering, for accepting our invitation to be a resource person. We are delighted to have you here, ma'am. She has 28 years of teaching and 20 years of research experience in the area of wireless networks. She has graduated from Madurai Kamaraj University in Electronics and Communication Engineering during the year 1989. She has obtained her master's degree in Applied Electronics with first rank from Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, and PhD degree from College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University, and Chennai. She also worked as a visiting researcher at Karniamalan University for a period of 6 months with Professor Rajkumar in the area of wireless sensor networks. She is also a head COE in Smart Technology Group. She has 103 publications in international and national journals, 1 book and 6 book chapters and 92 papers in international and national conferences in the area of mobile ad hoc network and wireless sensor networks. 17 scholars are graduated the PhD under her guidance, and presently 8 research scholars, 1 research associate are doing research in the area of wireless sensor networks, energy harvesting devices, IoT, and cognitive radios. She has received IETE SK Mitra Memorial Award in October 2006 from IETE Council of India, DST ITS Grant, Best Paper Awards in various conferences, and CTS SSN Best Faculty Award. She was executive member of IEEE Madras section. Currently, she is a secretary IEEE Communication Society Madras chapter. She has received totally 3 crore worth 9 projects from various funding agencies like DST, AICTE, etc. Some of the projects are 81 lakhs for integrated two-stage hybrid graphene hydrogel biocar-based electrochemical technology for recovery of water and real-time monitoring of electroplating effluent. Rupees 4.8 lakh for development of ultrasonic sensors for monitoring heavy mineral accumulation in the littoral zone of Mahabalipuram Coast project. She has received 35 lakhs for development of cost-effective wearable semi-automatic insulin delivery smart microsystem project. She has received 63 lakhs for development of an efficient IoT-enabled plant disease pest detection system. 25 lakhs for omnidirectional to directional pattern switching pattern patch antenna for wireless sensor networks at reactor containment building. Rupees 8.75 lakhs for establishment of antenna and microwave testing facility laboratory. Rupees 50 lakhs to strengthen research facility in all science department of the college. Rupees 20 lakh for design and hardware implementation of a programmable filter to improve the signal to noise ratio due to wind driven ambient noise in shallow water, and rupees 28.58 lakhs for design and development of wireless sensor nodes, and 6 projects funded by SSN Trust. So now we have a wonderful resource person with us to share her views and experiences. Before sharing, hand over the session to ma'am, I invite HOD IT, Dr. Vincent Anthony Kumar, and PSNA IAC head to outline the activities of IAC. Sir, please, sir.
Good afternoon, respected chief guest of this function.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon, Dr. Shanti Madam, HOD CSE, and other faculty members. This is a PSNA Institution Innovation Council initiative, and we are doing the lot of work related to the entrepreneurship and the innovation and the IPR cell. And last 3 months, we are continuously working on this process. And each department is taking care about the particular area, and they are working with the interrelated projects and as well as the interrelated programs we are organizing it. And I am happy to share here the last year 2019-20, the PSNA Institution Innovation Council received a 5-star ranking from MHRD MHRD Innovations Council. So the entire India, I think they awarded the star ranking. So out of 154 engineering colleges and universities, so PSNA IAC received the 5-star ranking. So in this aspect, I think we are working again on this, and it will be very helpful for our Atal ranking also. So I'm thank you very much for the department coordinators and the other heads are doing a wonderful work related to the innovation, entrepreneurship, and as well as the IPR activity. So on behalf of myself, again, I welcome Professor Radha Madam for this wonderful. I think you are a well experienced professor, and I think you please give some thought under the activities to our faculty members and as well as students, Madam. Thank you.
Okay.
Now I hand over the session to Dr. Radha ma'am to share her views. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, I'll share.
Pushpalata Madam, you can record the meeting. Is it possible? Is it record option is available? You can record.
Yeah, I think
It's
you are
being
able
recorded.
hope you are able to see my slides. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
is visible, ma'am?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm proud to say that I am an alumni of a PSNA College of Engineering and Technology, 89 batch, and also thank you Puspalata for introducing me. And yeah, I'll be the given topic is for the presentation today is call for paper writing and research report on innovation. Uh, shall I switch off my videos?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just do
Okay.
that. If needed, then I will switch it on later for the discussion. Okay. Uh, the topic of presentation was writing skills, improving writing skills for paper publications, as well as doing a research, and then bringing innovation on the research what you're doing it. So that's what I understood from the topic. And since the audience are UG and PG, and also some faculty members and research scholars will be there, so I have organized my presentation like that. Writing skills for journal publications, quality journal publication I'm talking about, and then selection of the problem statement. In order to write any paper, you need to have a good problem statement, and that selection of the problem statement plays an important role. So I'll just touch upon how to select the problem statement. And for the problem statement, what are the solutions you can give so that it will lead to an innovation at a later stage. And also I want to highlight what is the outcome of our innovation, which fetched a lot of funding. And finally, I'll talk about some references which we were used for the preparing the presentation as well as for our research work. So coming to the writing skills for journal publication, the important key parts in the any journal paper, if you see, the items are highlighted here, or some 10 items I have highlighted. That's the first one is an abstract. And then second, I think I given as an index word, or some journals, I think they say that keywords also is another terminology, they use it here. And then the third one, I think you have to talk about the introduction. And the fourth point I highlighted here is a system design and the architecture. And the next part is results and discussion, and then conclusion. And then next is an acknowledgement, which is an optional, not a mandatory one. And finally a reference. This structure is a major important one in any parts of the journal paper. If you take any journal paper, and these are the main structure will be followed, or I can say the key parts will be followed in writing any journal paper. So first we'll say what is the abstract. So what is expected in the abstract? Generally, an abstract is a brief discussion about the work you have executed. It should be very informative, and it should be an attractive one, and it should be a very effective one. Generally, people will start reading an abstract, and then based on your abstract writing skill, and the people will decide the paper is going to be a good paper or it's going to be a blah blah. So abstract will plays a major role in writing the paper, in writing a good paper. So generally, abstract you cannot write a one-page abstract or a half-page abstract. So generally, there is a restriction will be there in writing an abstract. So it varies from journal to journal, or I can say publisher to publisher. Some publishers will say abstract should be a very abstract. It should be with a limited number of words. For example, some journals will say that it should be 100 to 150 words. Generally, it has to express the key ideas and outcome of the research. And some journals will say that 200, 250 also allowed. But there always will be a guidelines will be given with the number of words you have to restrict. That's a number of words have to be used for writing an abstract. So the whatever you have carried out and you want to put it on your paper, right? Are you going to elaborate at the later stage of the parts of the paper? That should be brought down within the 100 to 150 words in a proper manner, so that it will be more attractive for the reader to read further your paper. And based on this abstract information only, the editor, once you submit to the journal, the editor will circulate to the reviewers to get their consent. Okay, so that should be that abstract plays a it plays a more role in writing a paper. So what is expected from the abstract? Generally, a good abstract should answer the following questions. That is, what you have done in the paper, or what you have done on the research, and how you have done, and what did you achieve out of doing this, and what are the potential application. So a good abstract supposed to follow, supposed to give an answer for these questions. So when you have answer for this question in your abstract, then definitely you have, then it gives a feel of that author or the contributor of the paper has done some work on the title what you have framed for your work. For example, I'll show you one sample abstract, recently published our paper. So we have written something. So we have done some experimental analysis of developed sensor for accelerometer application. So what I can say that is, so we have written some statement about what is the method I have used, right? I'll show that what is the method is. I'll start abstract. I do not give about any introduction about, because abstract is restricted to 100 or 150 words, because this transaction journal says that 150 words. So my including commas and spaces will be counted. So I need to be restricted. So I'll not give any introduction on the abstract part. I have to straight away start with what is the work I have started, or what is the methodology I have used, what is the material I have selected, and what is the implementation part I did it. All this 1 or 2 lines, right? And then I'll give an answer. What is the outcome of this? I've got it. So the result, best results out of the so many parameters I measured, and what is the more important result which is relevant to this application, that I have to highlight, and for what application I'm working on it. So that I think I have to convey in my application. Once if you convey that in your application and in your paper, that gives a feel of that you have done some work on the paper. So that is the first one you have to understand. So a good abstract will always fetch a good reader. That's what I think the rule says that. And the selection of the keyword also plays an important role. The next part of the writing a paper is a selection of the keywords. It is important to map the paper to the reviewer, because generally reviewer will be having n number of reviewers will be associated with the journals. So to choose the proper reviewer for to review the paper, you need to give a proper keywords. So the keywords should be carefully selected, because based on the keywords only, the editor will assign the editor will map the reviewer expertise. So that is the reason I think you have to select carefully the keywords, and the choice of keywords should be a combination of both broad area of research as well as the specific aspects of the research. So the keywords should generally contain the combination of the broad area of research. I'll say the broad area of research is a wireless sensor and or IoT, and then specific aspect is development of sensor. I'll say that using some material, or I'll say for accelerometer applications. For what applications I am doing this? So this there is also number of the keywords are also restricted, because they say that 5 to 6 words or 7 to 8 words. It's also once again depends on the journal. Guidelines will be there. So number of keywords you have to restrict. So within that number, you have to specifically choose the keywords which broadly conveys to the reviewers what you have done it on this paper. So that plays an next major role. And these keywords, the selection of the keywords also increase the chances of downloading your paper, thereby increasing the readership. How do I say that is downloading the increasing the readership means generally when any author or when generally when any student or a scholars will search in a Google engine by typing the keywords. So when you type the keywords, right, automatically the Google search engine will search the keyword which is available on the paper, and it pop up the link on the frontly. It will be pop up. The link will be come in the front. So the selection of the keyword is plays an important role for increasing the readership also, and also for downloading the your paper. There is increasing the chances of downloading your paper. This will improve the author citation. In turn, this will increase the index of the H index of this author. These are the two metrics which is generally used to evaluate the author. So the keyword is a major, one of the major role in your paper when writing a paper. And the third part is an introduction part in any paper. The most important aspect of the paper is the introduction part, because that creates an interest to the reader. Generally, the reader will look for an abstract and then conclusion and then start reading the introduction part. So introduction part supposed to give us some idea about what is the problem you have chosen, what is the importance of the problem you have chosen. Okay, since the problem statement is more important, you are trying to work on the problem statement, because your problem statement is going to narrow down one problem, smaller problem statement on the broader area of the problem. So what is the significance of the problem? You have to state, and then in the significance of the problem, you are not going to address all the problems, right? So you will be narrow downing the problem with one or two statements. Then you have to give a sufficient literature support related to the problem statement, because we are not the only person who are going to work on the problem statement. There must be some people parallelly worked on it and published on the paper. Similar papers will be published. So in the introduction part, you have to bring the literature deeply. You have to do the literature on the related work and bring that in the introduction part. Then you have to, from that literature work, then you have to correlate your proposal. That define the next line is the what is you are going to do it. You have to differentiate from others what they have done it, and then what you are going to do it. And then finally, in the introduction part, you'll also say that how your paper is going to be organized. It is also not mandatory like an acknowledgement. If sufficient number of pages are provided by the journal author, that's the guidelines to the author, then you can include this paper organization of the paper, or else it's an optional, you can leave it also. So let us see what is this each component in detail. The first paragraph is the introduction section that should detail discuss about the problems, about the significance of the problem. Out of the significance of the problem, what is the correct problem statement you are trying to address? That is, first few lines describe the problems being addressed. Then give important references that conveys the broad idea of the research is being conducted so far. Then out of that survey, you express the core research problems in the topic chosen. Then finally, you give a general idea of the research problem is being addressed. And the second paragraph, what you have to do is, you have to write a detailed discussion about the related works. Maybe you will refer some 10 to 15 papers, right, relevant paper, and that too you have to refer the most relevant research paper which is closely targeted to your problem statement, not to the broad problem statement, broadly related to your problem statement. You have to deeply do the literature survey, and maybe doing it hundreds or 150 papers like that, you will be selecting it. But out of this 150 or 100 papers, select the closely related papers, and that is also both recently published articles, right? That is closely related to your target paper, problem statement, and that consolidate all those things, right? And then report each and every paper in at the maximum 2 to 3 lines, not more than that. That the readers will lose their interest, because you are going to give it as a reference, and if they are interested with that paper, right, they can refer it at the later stage, because you have all the, in the reference you give the detail about the author, and then which journal it has published. So it is sufficient to have 2 to 3 lines about a paper which you are used in a literature, and address the pros and cons in the reported method. Each method, what is the advantage on the cons of the reported method, and collect all the cons. Okay, from the cons you develop a problem statement. That is the way you have to develop the problem statement. So whatever the people have addressed and it is already working fine, and taking that as a problem statement, it is not going to fetch any article out of that. If you do some work on that, you are not going to be able to get a good research out of that. So generally you have to select a cons out of the all the paper, whatever you have treated as the most important or relevant to you. So it's collect all the cons, and from that cons you try to develop the problem statement. So that has to come from the introduction part, and the third paragraph should contain, now you frame the problem statement in the introduction part. You should also tell us what is the approach you are going to use in order to address this problem statement, right? You are not going to elaborately discuss at the introduction part, but in the introduction part, so you started with the problem statement, problem importance, and then derived the problem statement based on the literature report. And now in order to address the problem statement, what is your approach, right, in order to improve the limitation of the previous authors approach. Okay, so also you have to tell the in the introduction part, by using your approach, what is the merit you will be getting out of the approach you have used. Provide the merit of the technique that is being adopted. Then finally you can conclude this paragraph, that is the introduction part, with the manuscript organization. That's what I said, it is an optional one, depends on the number of pages whether we use it or will not be using it. Sometimes number of pages are 4 will be there or 8 will be there, and then we try to remove some of the parts in the paper. So generally a manuscript organization manuscript, it will also says that one paragraph generally it comes, you try to use it or you may not be use it, but it gives one feel about how you have organized your paper in the remaining portion of the paper research report. This improves the understanding about the flow of the paper. For example, I can show you in this our transaction paper. We have given the introduction. We started with the problem statement, why I am using this, some lines about why I'm developing this nano sensors, right, and for what applications. I'll be starting here when what application, the method I'm using it, and some of the literature, most relevant literatures I've started here, right? And you can see these are the literature reports, and here we have started the methodology what we have used, and in this methodology what is the outcome we have received out of this. Okay, but I never use the remaining portion, how I am going to organize it, because the restriction I got it is 8 pages. So I have more information about my work, so I want to cut down the unwanted optional informations. So I never use the organization of the manuscript. It is an optional one. If you want, you can use it, but it's a good way to use it. So since you have a number of restriction, page number restriction, I have removed it. So this is the way I think you have to write an introduction part. Then coming to the next portion, that is the system design and architecture. Generally, we call it as, that is, you identify the problem statement. Now, how you are going to address the problem statement, right? How you have addressed, because you are writing the paper after the implementation, either it's as a hardware part or as a simulation part, you might have done it and you got your result, and now you are writing a paper, right? So you know the what you are going to write, what you are going to put it on your paper, you may be knowing it. So the system design and the architecture part may contain several subsections, right? And several subsection, it can be under several subsections you can have a subheading also, right? The author can have the privilege of having a number of subsections and number of subheadings. There is no restrictions will be there, only the page numbers will be generally restricted. And you have to start with a block diagram or the system view, whichever is applicable to you. So initially you are not supposed to start writing theory about what you have done it, right? Maybe you can start 1 or 2 lines about the general problem statement, how you started addressing it, and always you try to represent with the some diagrammatic way, so that attracts more readers for your paper. Okay. Or if not possible to put a block diagram, or write some architectural representation or a flowchart way of representing the work what you have carried out to address the problem statement. And this section should not be treated superficially, assuming that reader will be knowing it, or assuming that reviewer will be knowing this, or editor will be knowing that. Like that, you should not make an assumption that is superficially, you should not treat it, right? You have to assume that it is you have to elaborately discuss, give more importance to what you have done, put everything in a proper way, express each design aspects very carefully. That will not create it is not supposed to create any confusion. Okay, not supposed to create any confusion. You have to express each design very clearly, and so that you can, so that the reader can identify the novel aspect you have brought in the in your research, or while writing a paper, what is the novel aspects you have brought down. And try to use, don't always use say conveying it in a written form, writing a paragraph of information. Convert it into a use wherever is possible. Try to correlate the information with the either with the equations, or with the figures, or with the tables, to map your discussion. Wherever is possible, try to bring figures and explain your concept, or using an equation correlate the discussion, or using the table you can map your discussion. So that way you can attract your paper to look in a proper form. And don't forget to mention, don't forget to refer the equation, or the figures, or the tables, whatever you have used in your paper, in the text. For example, the figure once you are given the caption as the block diagram of your system, or the block diagram of your approach. Definitely it should be referred in the text somewhere in your front page, under the figure. You will be writing some content. In that content, definitely the figure has to be referred. So that is a basic requirement of any paper writing. And then once you detail discuss about the design concept, now what you will have to do is, you have to detailedly explain what is the outcome of that implementation. So don't write the outcome as in a once again it is a continuous letter form. Always try to quantify the research outcome wherever is possible. Either you can do analytically, you can prove it. If not analytical, then try to do a simulation. All right, using a simulation you can quantify it, or by doing a hardware experiment you can quantify it. Your outcome should be a measurable one. It should not be a readable one. So that is more importance to be given. And compare your research outcomes with the state of the art. So the report, right, when you are writing a discussion after discussing the system design, when you are doing a simulation or whatever, some method of evaluation, you will be having it for the problem statement what you have chosen and given the solution, always compare your result with the state of the art result. State of the art means recent report, right? Recent relevant report which you have referred in your related works. That is introduction part, right? There are 5 to 10 journals you might have referred. Compare your result with that paper. That should be a recent paper. Generally they say the recent is last 3 years of work you have to compare, and generally they will look for immediate years. That is, if you are in 2020, you have to compare at least not with the 2020, at least the paper which are published with in the year 19 or 18, like that. So generally the reviewer expect these are the some of the hidden informations from your paper, that these are all things which speaks the quality of your paper, right? So compare the research outcome with the state of the art, and then use all possible metrics to compare the performance of the system. In your paper writing, you suppose you have done some metric of evaluation that may not be reported in all papers. Maybe that is suitable for your solution, but that is whatever the solution you have provided. Apart from that, you should also compare with the results, compare with the metrics which already people have compared. Okay, that gives a more impact for your solution or your paper, I can say. So it is mandatory that you have to compare with all possible metrics to be taken care while writing the paper. Not with, you are not supposed to restrict with 1 or 2 performance evaluation and saying that I have written a good paper. So good paper generally will have a lot of result part to be discussed in order to convince the reviewers as well as the readers. The amount of performance enhancement should be compared with the most recent research, and always discuss the salient features of the research. So when you are writing an research part discussion, result and discussion part, always discuss in each and every metric what is the salient feature you have achieved out of that result. Generally, don't say the statement that this is shown in the figure, this is shown in the figure without any inference, right? So inferences is more important when you write a paper out of your solution. And always don't discuss in detail, okay, and also don't discuss with less information. Always discuss in few lines where you can try to convey with more salient features. For example, the same paper, I think once again I can show you how much of informations we have done. So we started our experimental results, right? You can see the different methods of analysis, lot of graphs, supporting graphs and tabular column and equations, all those things, right? Then wherever is possible, we have introduced the diagrams, right? Too many results. Because of this only, we are able to get published in a good journal like IEEE Transactions. So do discuss the salient features of the research. And after discussing the results, right, the next part is a conclusion part. So you have proposed the system architecture. Then using the proposed architecture, you evaluated all the metrics, whatever is possible, comparing with the state of art research papers, right? Now your paper is ready with the convincing result of supporting that you have provided the solution for the problem. Now the conclusion part should clearly specify it has to complement the abstract, right? Whatever you have given in the abstract, that you have the credential, whatever you have claimed in the abstract, that has been discussed elaborately in the system design and architecture part. And now the conclusion should be, once again, it is an abstract, but it should be a complement the abstract part. It has to ensure that the promises made in the abstract are met in the conclusion. Some claims you might have done in the abstract, and that should be ensured in the conclusion part. That insurance, that guarantee has to come from the the discussion part of your result. Okay, and quantify the result is more important always, right? In the conclusion part, don't write anything about in sentences. Always say that the improvement in terms of percentage or in terms of values, that's what they say. Quantify always the result as a, in order to accomplish your research that is more important. And if possible, add future scope for your research. So you have done some work and you have written a paper, right? You got some output, maybe some 75% of improvement or 80% of improvement. Still there is a 20% of improvement has to be achieved. While writing the paper and while doing the literature survey, you might have come across some ideas. You put that ideas in your paper so that it will be useful for the other researchers to take it forward the same domain. And also add one line about a potential application for the proposed technique. So this structure will give you that the feel to the editor or the reviewer that you have written a well good paper. You know how to write a paper because it conveys all the information about the claim what you have done in the abstract. And also it is not, the research paper is not going to stop abruptly with this your proposal. It is also leading to a further research, future research to carry on. And also you are trying to identify for other possible potential application for your technique. So this is the way you have to conclude, so that gives more impact for the your paper. This will give a more impact for your paper. And finally, your references to be mentioned. So in order to write a paper, you might have referred. In order to frame the problem statement, you might have used some references. So that has to be clearly mentioned in your paper. And start with the original work. Generally, for any problem statement, you'll treat some papers as a base papers. And then from that, you will start getting a lot of other papers, and some of the papers you treat it as a recent research papers. So always start with the original paper as a base paper, which is related to the problem, and gradually expand the literature survey section in deep. Okay, then use the most recent and most relevant references. That is, in a reference section, you have to list only the recent and most relevant references. Generally, they look for the years, backtrack the years. Maybe one or two you can put it as the original research paper, but majority of the paper should be a recent research paper should be there. And use browser to map all related researchers. Do not restrict one or two publication repositories. What I'm meaning is, do not refer always say IEEE transaction only you will be using for as a reference repository. And there are other repository also there, like Science Direct, you have Elsevier, you have Taylor and series. There are a lot of other repositories are also there. Use one or two repositories for more than repository, that gives you good feel of it. And some important reference will be available to you outside the references. That is also you can add it. Okay, respect all CA index journals while drafting the literature survey section. Right, like this you need to have good references. So I'll show you the reference section. Okay, you can see the reference sections. We used IEEE, we use Science Direct, we use Springer, right, and RSA related journals. So you need to have a good number of references that gives the feel of a reviewer or to editor that you have done a real good work while writing a paper. Okay, so these are all some of the guidelines you have to use for writing a paper. After writing a paper, now it is for the authors to submit the paper to a journal. Generally, publishing an article is a challenging one. Good article is a good journal is a challenging one. So it takes a month here also to get consent from the editor. Okay, acceptance consent from the editor. The process is generally looks like this. Authors will be submitting the article. While submitting the article, the first rule says that is your abstract has been having a scope on the article. You have to check, right, whether your article map scope of the article what you have written is within the scope of the journal that should be verified. That is by means of can you unmute others? Sorry, can you mute others because I am getting disturbance.
Okay, we'll do it, ma'am.
So you have to find first before submitting the article, just check whether your paper, your article is within the scope of that journal. Once if it is within the scope of the journal, then you can submit the article to the journal. Otherwise, what will happen is editor will simply reject the journal. Okay, if it is not within the scope of the journal. So generally for a author to look for that, right, by using a keyword or by using your abstract, you can check whether that article is supports similar type of work or not. That can be verified by the author itself. And once if it is within the scope, then editor will accept the article and that article will be sent for the reviewer. Now the editor will look for the keyword and map the keyword of the article with the reviewer's expertise. And maybe sometimes reviews may not be specific to that review, that may not be worked on the exact problem statement, but they might have worked on the broader area of the problem statement, but still they are able to review the article. So it goes to the reviewer, and the review process is a continuous process, right? The review process is a continuous process. So editor will select 2 or 3, depends on the requirement of the journal, right? 3 to 4 also sometimes they will select, and IEEE and all they select 5 to 6, 5 reviewers also. It varies from journal to journal, number of reviewers to be reviewed the paper. And once the paper is been reviewed and the review comments once again sent to the editor, the editor will overall assess the review comments based on the reviewer's input. Maybe the reviewers given a positive comments and with a minor revision or major revision, then the revision will start once again. Or if the reviewers are suggested, majority of the reviewers are suggested further review is not needed, so it can be rejected also. That can be done. Or further review is needed, then that comment also will be passed on. Then the reviewer will also, editor will also will send a new set of reviewers to do the review, right? So this process is in a loop, and once that all the review comments have incorporated further, and then resubmit the manuscript after the revision, and this process once again repeated. And based on the review comments you have addressed, this can be accepted or rejected. The decision will be taken by the editor based on the reviewer's input. Once that acceptance is received, then camera ready paper has to be done. The proof of camera ready have to be, and copyright transformation will be done. So that process, after that process is completed, then it goes to the production, and then you will get a publication. This is the this process is being used in a Wiley and other publishing other publishers. This is a mandatory process for a good journal to publish an article. So I am saying good journal is either it is listed as a SCI journal or a Clarivate journal, like that. Okay, so when you have a good problem statement and good solution, and when you improve your writing skill, definitely you can publish an article in a good journal. Okay, now I just generally given the input about how to write a paper, right? The general overall process of the how to writing a paper, and what the reviewer looks from the looks for you from your paper. Now the problem statement plays an important role, right? For any paper, the problem statement is an important role. because the correct problem statement will lead to a good research, right? So that is the my thumb rule. I'll say that the problem statement, correct problem statement, if you choose it, definitely you'll have a research problems. Researchers will be coming up, and continuously you can work on the research problem that will fetch you a lot of outcomes, right? So I am going to share my experience on the problem statement what we have chosen for our problem, what we have chosen so far, I think at least for last 5 years, and today I'm able to fetch 9 project out of that because of the problem statement correctly I have chosen. So initially, maybe in the year 2015, there was no keyword about the Internet of Things, right? Buzzword. It was not a buzzword at the time. It was the word used as the wireless sensor network. And people were thinking of deploying this wireless sensor network for different applications. So we were also thinking of using a WSN for different applications. Like they broadly, they categorize the application as healthcare, industrial, home automation, agriculture, video surveillance, etc. But we took it as a challenge. As one thing is using a WSN for a video surveillance application, because you know that the WSN is a smaller tiny device, right? You want to use it for a surveillance application. That was a challenge possessed at the time. People were discouraging that you cannot make it like that, but till we took it as a challenge and we started our work, because the problem statement is the challenge one, which is not impossible. You have to make it as a possible, then you can create um, lot of outcomes from that. Okay, that's what I understood from last 5 years, and we are able to do that. So in that broader problem statement, we want to narrow down the problem statement. What is the constraints generally we have in this IoT device, right? IoT devices, WSN, now today it is called as an IoT device. What is the problem statement you have an IoT device, right? A problem statement, I can say that you have, if the devices are tiny devices, I can say a tiny processor with smaller memory support, right? And you cannot run a higher end applications on IoT device. But still, I want to run the higher end applications like video, image processing, online critical applications, deploying this IoT for a critical application. Right. So the constraints to be how do overcome these problems in order to support the higher end applications. That's what the challenge we took it. Because you initially, I think we were having an IoT device with the MSP 430 processor with memory as in terms of KB. But today, at least you have a Raspberry Pi, versions of Raspberry Pi with in terms of some MB RAM support, right? Not a very high RAM support, but at least 1 MB RAM or 2 MB RAM support is available. But we started our work with the KB support of memory. So the constraint was memory, and then all the IoT devices, majority of the IoT devices were used in battery environment. It was deployed standalone, and then the device to device communication has to happen where the power is not there. So energy will also be a problem, and all these devices were operating at the ISM band. Still it is operating in ISM band, but once 5G deployed, then it maybe some licensed bandwidth will be allocated to IoT devices. Okay, but right now I think it is in ISM band where your industrial devices are also operating, industries are also operating in the same frequency band. So all these three things are a major constraint we were using it, but in spite of this constraint, still we want to use an video application on the IoT device. So image and video application was the problem statement we took it on the IoT device. How do address this challenge? So that is the problem statement. And actually it is a spark came into our mind that compressed sensing is a technique which we can apply for an IoT device. If we apply compressed sensing, then definitely we can do video and image processing on the IoT device. Okay, actually this spark was came when I attended some workshop at IISc Bangalore, and IISc Bangalore people were using at the time for social media applications, background work for the social media applications they were using. When they are using the same technique for social media application, why can't we use it for IoT devices? That's a Spark we took it, and then we started applying for IoT devices. Compressed sensing is nothing but, I'll not talk much about, technically I won't talk about compressed sensing. It is a simple concept where sensing and compression will be done in a single step. In generally communication, when you want to do transmission from one part to another part, you'll convert it to digital domain, right? You will transmit in a signal will be transmitted in a twice this bandwidth of the original signal, right? So you sample it at higher rate and then do the transmission. But now it is not required. With lesser number of sample, you can do the transmission and receive at the reception. Okay, I don't need a large number of samples to do the processing. That is the one thing I think we understood from compressed sensing, which needs lesser number of samples. So because lesser number of samples to interpret your information, naturally you need a number, storage is also minimized. You need requirement of memory will be less, energy will be less, bandwidth also will be less. So that was the spark came into our mind to address the problem statement. So we started, and also we found a lot of application for the IoT devices. And parallelly, we also found suitable applications like smart city applications, smart factory monitoring. Like there are a lot of applications were listed. So we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to work on this IoT device for video application. And here, what just one line about compressed sensing. It is an emerging technique. With that time, I think it was emerging technique, which requires only a smaller number of measurements for reconstruction. That is, generally we use the n will be generally a large number of value which is needed from the transmitter side to receiver side in general communication so far. But right now, I think this n value, you did not have an n as a very high value. It is n of this m value as a sample, number of samples, right? You can transmit with this sample, and at the receiver side, you can do the reconstruction. But the one constraint for m is m should satisfy this condition where there is a k is the non-zero values. It's nothing but you first thing is signal to be converted into the information to be converted into sparse domain, where you will separate the signal into useful signal and non-useful signal. So you will not transmit the non-useful signal. That is, for example, zero coefficient signals you will not transmit, and you will transmit only the non-zero signals. Okay, that is the simple concept of compressed sensing. So when you choose this non-zero signal, naturally your value of m will be less, very much less compared to the actual number of signals needed for the reconstruction. So that is a simple technique which we adopted. And once we thought that we'll be using a compressed sensing for thing, we derived the lot of small sub problem statements, right? How do I store the value of m? So since I am violating the Nyquist criteria, what is the mechanism I need to have at the receiver side to reconstruct the original value, right? You need some strong algorithm at the receiver part to reconstruct. And since I am going to use the video application over the IoT device, I need an object detection mechanism, right? Because I am not going to transmit the entire video frames at the receiver, right? I need some strong mechanism to detect my interested object at the receiver for reconstruction. And also I need some lightweight security mechanism for the transmission, because the device is a constrained device where I don't have a larger memory or I don't have a larger bandwidth. So we have listed all the possible research issues. We started addressing the one issue at a time. So the first thing is we did a lot of literature survey in deeply. Who are all the people working on this area, right? And by doing this, so, and we also come to know that our thing is we want to have higher PSNR value, because the quality of the image is quality of the image or your video will be defined based on the PSNR value. And also you need to have a higher detection accuracy, because I'm not going to transmit the samples, all the samples, I'm restricting the samples. So at this receiver side, I need a higher detection accuracy. And also I need to have protect my sample. So I need some security mechanism, but it has to give a high security. But I should not compromise anything on the here. So right, the storage requirement should not go up, or the energy computation should not go up, or the communication overhead should not go up. So without compromising on this, how I am going to achieve this 3 parameters. That was the challenge. So, but anyway, we are able to get a supporting literature related research report from the from different journals, and we started framing our first framework. So I said, so I found my literature. Okay, my introduction part is over. Now I'm going to implementation part. I have something on my mind, right? Some problem statement I identified, strong problem statement I identified, and I know there is a way to give a solution, but how do I implement it? So I need some framework, right? That framework, you call it as a, sometimes you call it as a block diagram, or sometimes you call it as a flow diagram, whatever may be. So we call it as a framework. So I'll get a video input and I'll do some transformation here and extract my samples, right? And after some, and store it in some matrix. So that's the first part with choice of measurement matrix, right? The choice of measurement matrix matters a lot. So we started our work with the choice of measurement. A lot of measurement matrices we defined, and we have selected the suitable measurement matrix. And based on the suitable measurement matrix, we can see the reconstructed at the receiver side. We are able to reconstruct our original image, right? This slide shows the original image at the reconstructed. The thumb rule says that is PSNR value is more than 25, right? Then the images will be, you can able to view it. Whatever the images you have transmitted at the transmitter side is able to view at the receiver side. So our method, I think the problem matrix, the way of choice of matrix was giving a good PSNR value. So I think the concept what we have proposed is giving a better PSNR value with less number of sample. That's what I think the value of M says, that less number of sample. Instead of transmitting 200 samples, I'm just transmitting only a 30 samples. But still I'm able to get a quality of the images what I was looking for. Both we did for both color and grayscale images, right? But I have not shown you. So both in a different format we have given the results, right? So that this detailed report, I think we published in a paper called as the this paper. It's a paper we have. This was the paper we published. And video compressor framework for wireless sensor network, and you can see all our things are reported here, related work, and then with the mathematical and the proposed framework, right? A lot of supporting document with proper selection of these sensing matrix, and then recovery algorithm at the receiver side. So convincing result, right? Then conclusion. So this was the first paper we are able to get out of the proposed solution. That's one work. Then I think first initially we started for image, and actually our target was video. So since we were having MSP 430 processor with the KB, we started our work with the image. Then later we extended to the video. Video we want to do, what is the concept we introduced for the video is the same problem statement, but now we are giving an input as a video rather than as an image. So the input as a video, what we want to do is, we don't want to transmit all the frames. The novelty what we brought is was, we don't want to transmit all the frames. We want only the transmit the frames, and the reference frame, that's one thing. The second thing is only the change in the frame alone we want to do the transmission. Because we know how to reconstruct the frame, right? If there is a change in the frame is there, then that measurement alone, we will do the transmission. That way we can save the energy as well as save the bandwidth and also the memory. So that is a simple concept we brought in. And then the threshold strategy, if the change in the measurement is greater than some value, then we do the transmission, otherwise we will not do the transmission. For that we put some supporting mathematical equation and then approach, right? And that I think this was the work we carried out. Yeah. Then the selection of the M value. I said M is always we will select M is some value, maybe 20 or 30 or 40, right, to meet our PSNR requirement. Right, sometimes you will get it in 30, or sometimes you get it in 20 also, or 25 also. But we need to optimize the M value, because sometimes I may get my PSNR value 20 for PSNR, M equal to 20 by PSNR may not be is at the satisfiable range. But when I go to m equal to 30, but the quality of the signal received signal will be very good. But maybe sometimes it may also good at the 25 or 26 or 24. We don't know. So we want to bring an optimization here. So we want to minimize the m value. That is our objective is to minimize the m value, right? We want to do an optimization of this m value. We use some simple algorithm called as a particle swarm optimization algorithm. Sometimes we may have images with what you can say, noisy corrupted images will be there. That time you need your samples are you need for reconstruction at the receiver side, you need a higher samples. Whereas sometimes you will have input as a quality input is itself input coming in input itself very good quality input, so you need a lesser sample. So this m value to be an adaptive one, and it should be optimized with respect to the input. So that process we want to do it in automatically. So we brought an optimization concept inside the proposal. So that fetched our ms to be a minimum one. So that made us some more results after bringing the optimization. Right, we are able to see the achievement by doing this. The number of samples we are able to save 96% by one algorithm, another algorithm by 91%. These are all the some of the new outcomes we are able to get out of this small modification we brought in our small solutions we brought in our problem statement. And we also calculated the energy consumed by the nodes, and that was also saving a lot of percentage of reduction in energy you can see compared to the existing methods. And also we calculated, because of this energy saving, we also calculated the lifetime of the nodes. You can see source node is the one which generally capture the images. Relay nodes are nothing but the intermediate nodes which try to help the communication between the source and the destination. We separately calculated, because source node generally will do some higher end processing. It has to do a lot of processing, whereas relay node will be just to do the transmission alone. Nothing will be doing it. So we did the lifetime analysis for the each node. For the source node, it comes in terms of minutes, and whereas for relay node, in terms of hours, it will be there. Okay, and also we extended for if you transmit continuously, what will happen, or if your transmission is for every 10 minutes 1 minute of video you are transmitting, or every 1 hour 1 minute of video if you transmit, what is the lifetime of the node? All those things we did analysis, and then we are able to see the improvement in the network lifetime by doing this, by selection of the proper, by introducing the value optimization. We are able to increase the lifetime of the node. And this also fetched another journal. Anyway, I'm not. Then we want to have video should be transmitted in a secure manner. You cannot use the conventional video. You need to have a lightweight video, lightweight secure mechanism for that. Okay, so in order to secure the video transmission, what you do, you will be doing a scrambling, you will be doing it, or you can say they convert the plain text into a ciphertext by mixing with the keys, right? That's what the general procedure we do it. So what is the novelty we brought here is we didn't use any extra key here. So whatever the measurement value we have selected, that value that's already stored in your node, that same value of m we have used to create the key generation. So that is one way we are able to brought the another solution to the to add a security for the video. We didn't bring any extra key for the system, because if you say that if you want to generate a ciphertext, not ciphertext, that encrypted, say you need to add a key. In order to add a key, you need to bring a ciphertext to mix with your plain text, right? So that additional portion of the memory is needed to store the ciphertext. But what we did is we used measurement value as itself is a cipher to generate as an input to the generation of the key. So that way we are able to achieve some use the algorithm as a lightweight algorithm which can able to secure the video from transmission over the wireless channel. So for that also we use some of the approaches, and also this is our some technical discussion about the concept what we have proposed. And you can see even intruder is able to capture the key. We are not able to, he's not able to really identify the he will not be able to crack the original frame. So that's what I think we are able to understand, and also the improvement we are able to get. And the other thing we are able to say that is the number of requirement of the storing the key is when both the mechanism, when you use either this approach or the other approach you use, not very much of memory is needed, only in terms of bytes it uses, right? So that is an advantage we were having it. And then so we did lot of metric calculations. You can see I said no, in when you write a journal you have to compare with the relevant journal paper, what are all the metrics have been compared, used, that same thing have to be used it for your evaluation also. Because of that I think we added a lot of metrics, energy consumptions or overhead and all those things. These are all with respect to the simulation part. Then we implemented the same thing on the experimental analysis to confirm that, right? In order to in order to publish a good article, you need to have both. Either you need to have an analytical support or you need to have an experimental support. With the simulation support alone you cannot publish a good article. So we did using a experimental also. So a lot of experimental analysis we did, right? And to get a confirmation about the thing. And this was the says that number of bytes required for storing the elements, and by new methodologies we have able to reduce that requirement. And all these things were giving a good results when we do in real time. And then what we did was, yeah, initially we were using a laptop will be connected with the IoT device. Then I think we bought a exclusive IoT device where without a laptop we can able to connect to the other IoT devices. So this is a little higher end hardware compared to the early stages of iOS, which was having 512 MB flash, 256 MB RAM, and then 512 MB flash. We using 256 MB RAM, we need to run a video transmission over the IoT device. So this was the experimental setup we had. Whereas the receiver side we used only laptop. We never touched anything on the receiver side. Only on the transmitter part we were trying to do the optimization. And then I think, yeah. Okay, now we have did some comfortable with the all our analysis. We are able to have image as well as the video analysis over an IoT device. Now we want to come for a proper application. The application what we took was, initially we took for a video surveillance application, critical application. Then later we extended to agriculture application, where this can be monitored. Our device can be deployed so that it can be monitored in a real field. And for that also we did lot of literature, prior art search we did, and we are able to find one product which was developed by US, and that we were took it. And in India also there is a CDAC, we are also developing a similar product with a little higher end cost. Okay, these are some of the product we did as a literature while we want to develop product for the agriculture application, right? And so this is our framework. Once again we have given the framework for agriculture application, how this framework will looks. And this framework I think we have used the same thing whatever we have already discussed. Image here, once again I'm taking initially image, then later on going to the video part, real-time monitoring. So the same thing, except now we do the two more modification we brought in. Need to have an image segmentation and image uh, feature extraction. So now we only transform the features alone, not the any other parameters, right? And we did for both lot of plans we did for both I don't know who is having control. So we did for rice as well as we did for tomato and pomegranate. Lot of plant we tested, And also we did a web application were developed and in order to have real-time monitoring. And later we also did for banana applications, hill banana applications, in order to identify the thing. This is the methodology for banana application we have proposed. And before actual deployment, we also wrote a paper about this work so far we have carried out, and this was published, which relate to web enabled plant disease detection system for agriculture applications. I think this paper will talk about the detailed discussion about about our deployment of IoT device for applications. You can see performance metrics and all those things. Okay, so a lot of outcomes we are able to arrive out of the problem statement. And because we did lot of work on this, we are able to finally develop a IoT device. Right, this was the device we developed, and we compare with the existing device which is available in the market. This was the device which is having a low cost, and you can detect the banana diseases not only for the banana plant, any plant you can able to detect if you train your system. And this was the process flow we have used for in our system. And finally now our product is looks like this. Right, this is our outcome of the outside of the product, and this is inner part of our product. And this was the field test we carried out, the field product we brought in, and this was the classification we did. We are able to achieve reduction of the samples like this. So you can see the number of samples is amount of sample required is this much, right, the sample, but we didn't, after the extraction we reduced the sample size is this much, right. And so you have a lot of reduction in our sample size because of the algorithm, and then accuracy also we are able to achieve it. And real time we can able to capture using our mobile phone and classify the disease. Okay, so because of this we are able to fetch the problem statement correctly what we have chosen, right. That is an IoT device with a video application. We want to run a video application on IoT device. So that leads this many papers and one book, and then fetched one external funding, and then recently we have filed a patent also. And coming to the innovation, since we brought innovation as the compressed sensing for IoT device, and because of the compressed sensing we are able to do what is that, bring an innovation on the IoT device which can be applied to critical applications or monitoring applications. So that made us an innovative product, right. How do you bring an innovation? Innovation is nothing but you can define it in different form. Replace something, for example, it can be a process, or it can be a product, or it can be a service. Service to service, whatever the service you're providing to the existing way can be, now it can be different way. If you support with service, then you call it as an innovation. A product can be innovation, or a process can be also be innovation. So it's something called, you call it as, it derived from they say it is derived from the Latin word which means renew, new one, right. Whatever you are using it, you do it in a different form, then you call it as an innovation, right. Generally it's a process by which a domain or a product or a service is renewed and brought up to date by applying a new processes, including new techniques, or establishing successful ideas to create new value. And if you come to your stages of innovation, the first one is idea only. That's what I think I correlate. This is the stages of innovation given as a document. But the work, whatever I experienced for the past 5 years, right? I'll create, idea was there initially. I want to have deploy an IoT for video application. That was an idea I was having it, but the technology was not having it at the time. But I got some input, and I'm able to bring a design. The concept design initially we had, and then prototype we developed, and then detailed design now we have, then we also implemented. Now what is the last phase? We after deployment, lot of adjustment, and we have to do it, right? When you go for real-time implementation, you'll face some problems. So these stages of innovation, you can file your ideas as a pattern, right? That is also you call it as an innovation, or that concept design is also you also call it as an innovation. Prototyping is a one way of a third stage of innovation, and detailed design, right? After prototyping also you need to modify your design, right, with respect to applications. Then that needs some detailed design part. So all these things are a business model of innovation, a structured activity. Actual business will take place once you go to the implementation part. This method, innovation is an iterative process, right? And it is a continuously evolving process. You can fix this innovation in 4 matrix. You can call it with respect to problem domain and domain definition. Breakthrough innovations are there. Breakthrough innovations are nothing but suddenly it comes up, right? Now you can see online method of teaching is a breakthrough innovation because of the pandemic situation, right? Today I think we are sitting in different parts of the place and still we are able to listen or interact, right? So that is called as a breakthrough innovation. There is one example is I can say this, all Zoom and we were Teams, all this comes as a breakthrough innovation. Sustaining innovation is nothing but which comes from the R&D labs that already we have done in the market, right? We want to retain the same thing by introducing some new concept in that so that it will sustain to the existing market. Basic research is also one of the method of innovation which leads to a initially may not be a well defined it may not becomes under well defined innovation part, but later it leads to the breakthrough innovation. Generally all academic activities are related with the basic research only. The disruptive innovations are nothing but because of one it has come, whereas existing things will go off. For example, you take your smartphone. Once smartphone is launched, right, what happened to your laptop or a desktop, right? So that is a disruptive innovation. Because that came, the others market has come down. Okay, so that you can contribute the innovation matrix broadly classified in this 4, and you can fit into anyone and you can try to contribute. Now the new concept of innovations generally focuses on inclusiveness, that is called as bringing a new product and new services to the, it is called as a inclusiveness. In the existing product you do some modification and make it as a new product, you call it as a inclusiveness innovation. And frugal innovation is nothing but bring a low cost product from the existing one. Generally you say, for example, to support the low economically lower background people, you want to give the facilities. For example, you take a nana car, Tata nana car, that is an innovation, frugal innovation to attract uh, lower community of people. I will say not lower community, that is a middle class people to have a four-wheeler like that. That's a one type of innovation. Lot you can name it. And grassroots innovations are nothing but replacing the entire community with the new technology. For example, simple example, I will say renewable energy initiatives in one location. That is called as a grassroots innovation. So that where all that location will be having a new method of supplying energy. And then another concept of innovation is a social innovation, which is open source methods, right? Today now almost all people are looking for, okay, I got, instead of paying it, you get basic things. From there you derive whatever you want, right? So that we call it a social innovation. Somebody will be having and putting it in open forum, and from there you can derive what you want. So that you call it as the social innovation. Example, you can say virtual learning. And mindset for innovation is you break the rule. So when you want to become an innovator or you want to do, first you break the rule. That's what they call it as. And collect the ideas everywhere. Wherever you go, you try to collect ideas, correlate, and then you can do something innovative, right? Believe in the impossible. That's what I do it. I think when I started my work on the bringing video on the IoT device, I got a negative criticism from strong people, right? A lot of people were criticizing, but I took it as in a positive manner, but I made it as impossible, right? Today I think all industries were talking about the internet of things. So that even I got a lot of achievement out of that publication, student produce, research scholars produce. And coming to the type of innovation, 3 things. One is, I don't know who wants to jump so early. process involvement, product development, and service innovation. You can contribute in any one area, either as a process, you can improve the process, or you can develop the innovative products, and also or you can do the service creation and introduction of new services for customers and partners. And some of the references we used for preparing the slides, and these are only some of the thing. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pa.
Okay, now I invite Dr. S. Satish Babu, Associate Professor, CSE Department, to give the vote of thanks. Before that, participants, do you have any discussions with ma'am? You can have. Participants, do you have
If
any
you have any
queries?
queries, you can raise your hand or you can unmute and raise your queries. Dear participants, if you have any queries, please unmute and raise your queries.
Students?
Okay, if there is no
Okay.
query, it's okay.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Satish Babu,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, madam. It's vote of thanks. Okay, madam. Okay, madam. Very good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I thank PSNI management and MHRD IAC cell to give opportunity to conduct this kind of webinar. So most of the researchers, faculty members, and students can utilize for their own journal writing and research report writing and their innovative projects, all these purposes. And I also thank our principal to motivate to conduct this kind of programs. According to the title, webinar title, Call for Paper Writing and Research Report on Innovation, our guest, Dr. S. Radha, provided the more innovative idea how to write the journal paper with the different sectors, and based on the segregation, the professor explained the detailed aspect of writing of the journal papers. And also next, with the proper guidelines and example, how to write the research report, that is the thesis. So that also a mind-blowing session with the her problem statement and analysis part, all these things provided by the professor. Then after that, innovative projects. So for that also, the different kinds of innovative projects, what are there and how the students and faculty members can motivate their thoughts and convert to in the innovative ideas. So that also given excellently and mind-blowing session for the whole entire webinar session. So I thank Professor Dr. S. Radha. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir.
Then, okay, ma'am. Then next, our department, head of the department, Dr. Santi. So she always encouraged to conduct this kind of programs and also gave the proper guidelines how to conduct and how the programs has to be organized in proper way. So all these informations shared by our HOD madam. So thank you, ma'am. Then I also thank MHRD head, IAC head, Dr. A. Vincent Anthony Kumar, IT HOD professor. So thank you, sir. And also the thank coordinator, Dr. S. Puspalada ma'am, to organize this event in proper manner. And last but not the least, the participants, faculty members and students, I thank everyone. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
I can leave?
Okay, yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.